here at Fort Blakely's Wiley Center. And we got a special artillery piece that this gentleman's going to tell us about.
This is a bronze 6-pounder gun that was made by Skates and Company in Mobile, Alabama. And they only made 4 guns. They made this gun, which was a 6-pounder, then they made it it's a bronze gun, and they made a bronze 12-pound howitzer, which was a smoothbore, and they made 2 iron Parrott rifles. This gun was made in 1861, and it's very distinctive in that it has 15 lands and grooves. This is a rifled cannon. And early in the war, they discovered that the bronze guns, the rifling wore out, and so they melted them down and made them into Napoleon 12-pounders, which was a larger caliber gun and more effective and desired by the artillerymen. We don't know how this gun survived because it was, we think it stayed in Mobile, and that's what kept it from being melted down. It possibly was at Shiloh, but this gun is serial number 1.
It's the first one.
First one, and Skates and Company made many artillery rounds, but they made very few guns. But they did re-rifle. They took all the smoothbores out at Fort Morgan and Fort Gaines, and they were shipped to the Skates foundry where they rifled them, not re-rifled them. They rifled them and sent them back out to Gaines and Morgan. But this particular gun was issued to a Mobile battery in 1861, and then we don't know what happened to the gun after that, and it was later captured at Fort Blakely. We tracked it down to Terrence Battery, which was an Alabama battery, and it was captured on April the 9th, 65, excuse me. But because of had this been a smoothbore, we probably couldn't have tracked the gun down, but because of the 15 lands and grooves, these shells that are displayed here were actually fired from this gun. They were found here at Blakely years ago, some of them they were found years ago before it was a park, and then some of it was outside of the boundaries of the park, but the map shows the places where they were actually found, so we know it was out in front of Terrence position, which was redoubt number 1 and redoubt number 2. And with the 15 lands and grooves, the particular caliber, this was cast as a 3.67 caliber or a 6-pounder. After the rifling wore out, it was re-rifled, probably by Skates and Company, to a 3.8 caliber, which made it now a 12-pound gun. Shot a 12-pound shell. That's what this is. And it has a copper sabot, what they call a sabot, because it had to slide down into the bore, and when the charge went off, it expanded the copper, and that's what caught the rifling. But this shell has 15 lands and grooves, which found out in front of this position puts it with this gun, which we found a description in the official records of the War of the Rebellion, and then also an article by one of the officers in Terrence Battery, Lieutenant Tarrant.
Yep.
And he described this gun, and of all the guns that were listed captured at Blakely, the description. It was a Confederate James, which would have been this rifled cannon. So it took us a year and a half to research that, and it was like looking for the Holy Grail, but it was an exciting.
So this is the gun artillery piece that was manned by Terrence Battery at Fort Blakely and captured on April 9th, 1865, in the last siege, the last major battle of the war, and the largest battle in the state of Alabama. It was built by the Mobile foundry of Skates and Company.
That's correct. It possibly even fired, according to Lieutenant Tarrant, possibly fired the last shot that was fired on the eastern shore of Mobile Bay. He wrote about it in an article in Confederate Veteran Magazine in 1915 and 1917.